Eastern Europe has always intrigued me because it is a region with a very complicated history and very few tourists compared with Western Europe, despite being much cheaper. So when my friend Karina invited me to go explore Sofia, Bulgaria for a few days, I couldn't say no. After taking a few buses from Istanbul, we finally arrived to Sofia in the middle of the night, so we decided to start our adventure off at a local bakery the next morning.
What a great breakfast.
First day in Bulgaria.
Look at this is amazing.
Karina got this fancy salad. And this boza, whatever that means.
But they said I'll like it. Oh my god,
And then we got this kind of funny little parfait thing, fruit parfait. And then I got some bread. So I got this chocolate croissant that looks really delicious. And then this giant roll with like sweetened condensed milk, almonds, and hazelnut. We'll see what it tastes like. Sure. What is it? Count the tracksuits? Okay, let's do it. We've already seen two. We haven't finished breakfast yet. But this croissant is amazing. Chocolate is freaking delicious. Okay, we are walking around the streets of Sofia here. We're gonna go check out these two cathedral basilica type buildings that are really pretty. But first, there's this place called Vitosha Boulevard, which is like the big main pedestrian walking street with like shops and restaurants and stuff, and see if I can get a SIM card. Got this coffee sweet house, gelato, and striptease bar. My friend Karina is originally from Crimea, so she was born in Ukraine and speaks Russian, and has unfortunately seen a lot of war in her life. However, one of the things we wanted to know as language learners is how similar Bulgarian was to Russian. We talked to our first taxi driver in Russian and he spoke perfect Russian, but then we asked two younger girls if we should use English or Russian, and they said definitely use English. Then as we were walking on Vitosha Boulevard, we came upon this gelato shop, and while I was picking out my ice cream flavor, Karina started chatting with the shop owner, who didn't speak a lot of English, but spoke fluent Russian. Bulgaria has an interesting history because although it was never part of the USSR, it was extremely closely allied with Russia throughout the Cold War, and had a communist government until the fall of the Soviet Union as well. However, more recently, Bulgaria was one of the first countries to support Ukraine and receive Ukrainian refugees after the Russian invasion, leading to Russia branding Bulgaria as an enemy of the state. As we were talking to the gelato vendor, he told us that most young people would prefer English, while most Bulgarians over the age of 35 would probably speak better Russian. However, even beyond that, Karina said she could understand about 70% of Bulgarian that she overheard if she was paying attention. So we just stopped at the Viva.com store to get a SIM card, and I've never had this happen before, but they just gave me a QR code with a pin to scan to get my eSIM, which is interesting. But it was only 20 lev for 25 gigabytes. On this park with a funny head in it. I don't really know why it's balancing like that. So strange. After visiting Vitosha Boulevard, we decided to go check out some of the famous churches in Sofia, but unfortunately we weren't allowed to take pictures inside. Okay, we just finished with the first church, and now we just made it to the Basilica of St. Sophia, which is a really impressive looking building with this cool courtyard in front of it. Even has like a bunch of little like vendors, kind of like a little swap meet type thing out here in front in the garden. And after checking out some of the cool Soviet paraphernalia, we found a guy selling old Soviet-era film cameras. So, as photographers, Karina and I were very interested. We each ended up buying something. She got a new lens, and I got a new Soviet lens with a film camera from 1990 that I'm excited to try out. We then went to check out the Cathedral of Alexander Nevsky, which was my favorite building. It's named after a Russian prince from the Middle Ages as a way of thanking Russia for its support in helping Bulgaria get its independence from the Ottoman Empire. To explore the city, we decided to get some traditional Bulgarian food from a restaurant called Moma, which ended up being a lot fancier and more expensive than I was expecting. I got an appetizer plate with 6 different Bulgarian foods to be eaten with bread, while Karina got a rabbit stew. So now we are going to go on a free scenic walking tour here in Sofia, and I will show you a cool scenic montage of the city of Sofia now. And for our final stop, we went to a traditional Bulgarian tavern where we had some of the best beans I've ever had in my life. I have often written off European cities as expensive and boring, and as an American, I had certain stereotypes of Eastern Europe as having lots of graffiti, run-down buildings, and just feeling old. And in reality, it was all of those things, but Bulgaria is also a country with a ton of history from different empires, and people of different religions living together. It's a country of stunning architecture and kind people, and despite all of that, I've heard that Sofia is the most boring part of Bulgaria, so I'm excited to come back someday and explore some other parts of this beautiful country.